Johnny. Okay. Okay, 6th grade, quickly go to pages 11 and 12. I'm going to come through and just double check to make sure you got those done. Uh-oh. Okay, well, it's not in your bin. Make sure you have your spelling and language, and you'll have to look for that at home. 6th grade, if you have not already done it, take your books. Okay, you should have already have done this. But take your books and write your names in the front flaps. Okay, very important. That way, if for some reason a book goes missing, we know whose it is. Okay? So if you've not already done that, then go ahead, do that now. Okay, open your language books up to page 12. Gianni, if you can hear me, can you chat and just let me know you can hear me? Yes, sir. Not right this moment. Do you find it, Cameron? Okay, good. Gianni, chat, let me know you can hear me if you're watching, okay? All right, I went over our spelling test from Friday. We did not do so great on our spelling test last week. So that means we need to work harder on it this week, okay? Some of you did fine, and then others of you just really struggled. Yes? What is this for? Is this the penmanship test? Did you guys turn these in on Friday to Mr. S? Yes? If you did not turn it in, I do need it. Please write on there test number 1. Cameron, if this is your test, write on there test number 1, please. Write on there test number 1 so I know what it is. Every time you have a penmanship test, write your name, date, and then test. That way I can keep it separate from your other homework. Okay? Gianni, make sure, please, that you turn in your penmanship test. I did not get that on Friday from you. You probably were working on it Friday, as well as your spelling test, okay? Any other cursive tests? Awesome. Okay, I wanted to hop in here today, traded places with Mr. S. I know it's kind of been a little bit different because, you know, Miss Gleb is out. Her dad is very ill right now, okay? So she is out with her dad, so I've been subbing in the 4th grade. But I was grading through your spelling test on Friday and just wanted to be able to get in here today and connect with you guys and make sure we're on the same page. Make sure that we're studying, okay? The spelling vocab, this is a little bit different than maybe what you did last year, okay? Because you're in 6th grade. Next year you're going to be in 7th grade and the work gets harder, so we have to step you up to where you're ready for 7th grade, okay? So some of these are a little bit more difficult, maybe have more numbers, more vocabulary words, but it's important that we're studying and that we're learning these. Every day you're going to have a spelling assignment, except for on Wednesdays and Fridays, that you will need to complete, okay? These homework sheets will give you extra credit. So if you finish them and turn them in, they will help you pull those spelling grades up, okay? So tonight, let's go ahead and just open up I know you have your language books up, but let's start with our spelling. Go ahead and pull your spelling books out. Go to list 2. List 2. Everyone get there quickly. Spelling vocab list 2. You guys are in different seats this morning. Gotta get used to these new seats. Put that in your binder. Do not lose it. That's the list you're studying. Tristan, same thing. Do not lose it. Cameron, do not lose that. Okay. Okay. Let's take a look at list 2. You'll notice here, guys, once again, there are 35 words total on these lists. The dark, bold ones where the definition is in bold, go ahead and make sure we're all facing completely forward. Eyes on Mrs. Roll, thank you. The ones that are completely bold, those are the ones that you need to know the definitions of. Take your highlighters and let's go through and highlight those, okay? The first one I want you to highlight is number 4, autoimmune. Please highlight autoimmune. The immune system's attack on the body. Okay, number 5, highlight it, autocrat, an absolute ruler, an absolute ruler. Number 7, highlight the word and definition, bibliography, a list of books and articles on a particular subject. Bibliography, a list of books and articles on a particular subject. Number 9, highlight incision, a cut. Incision, a cut. Boys that have the altered list, please be looking at your vocabulary words because you have 5 of the same ones. Number 11, highlight the word inoculate, to inject a vaccine into a living organism to prevent disease. Inoculate, to inject a vaccine into a living organism to prevent disease. Number 12, highlight incinerate. Incinerate, to burn to ashes. Incinerate, to burn to ashes. Number 13, highlight inherit. Inherit, to receive something from an ancestor at his death. Quickly, Tony. To receive something from an ancestor at his death. Number 14, highlight inhabit. Inhabit, to dwell in or live in a place. Inhabit, to dwell in or live in a place. Number 16, highlight the word import, to bring in from another country. Import means to bring in from another country. Number 20, please highlight the word implement. Implement is a tool or a utensil. If you implement something, if you implement a new strategy, that means you're putting it to use. Okay, number 21, immigrant. A person who comes into a new country to live. Go ahead and highlight that, please. Immigrant, a person who comes into a new country to live. Number 22, imminent. Imminent means about to happen, close at hand. Many Bible preachers will talk about the imminent return of the Lord Jesus Christ. We believe it is close at hand, about to happen. Number 23, highlight the word irrigation. Irrigation means the supplying of land with water by using ditches or sprinklers. The supplying of land with water by using ditches or sprinklers. Okay, please highlight number 29, attempted. Attempted means tried, made an effort. I was pleased that some of you attempted at the bonus sections on your spelling list. Some of you did not even try. You could have earned some extra points if you would have just attempted. And number 35, persuaded. Persuaded means convinced by argument or pleading. Persuaded. Make sure you've highlighted that one. Convinced by argument or pleading. These words we just highlighted are your definitions. You will need to know what these words mean, okay? Not just how to spell them. We do need to know how to spell them, but we want to understand what they mean. Can you use it in a sentence? If you heard it being used in a sentence, would you understand what the person who was talking about, what they were trying to say? Would you understand what they meant? Okay, so it's important that we understand the vocabulary, words, and definitions. Let's go back now. All the unhighlighted, 6th grade, we're going to say, spell, say. Okay, so if it's a highlighted one, we're going to skip over it for now. Okay, number 1, make sure everyone's saying it with me. Ready, begin. Automobile, A-U-T-O-M-O-B-I-L-E, automobile. Number 2, autograph, A-U-T-O-G-R-A-P-H, autograph. Number 3, automatic, A-U-T-O-M-A-T-I-C, automatic. Number 6, autonomous, A-U-T-O-N-O-M-O-U-S, autonomous. Put your mask on. Number 8, biblical, capital B-I-B-L-I-C-A-L, biblical. Very important that we remember the capital B. Okay, we always capitalize the letter B in Bible or biblical or anything attaining to God or church. We want to capitalize. Number 10, ready, begin. Inject, I-N-J-E-C-T, inject. Number 15, implore, I-M-P-L-O-R-E, implore. Number 17, impact, I-M-P-A-C-T, impact. Number 18, implant, I-M-P-L-A-N-T, implant. Number 19, immersion, I-M-M-E-R-S-I-O-N, immersion. We believe in baptism by immersion, meaning completely under the water. That's what that word means, a plunging into a liquid. Number 24, drowned. Ready, begin? Drowned, D-R-O-W-N-E-D, drowned. Number 25, guided, G-U-I-D-E-D, guided. Number 26, interrupted, I-N-T-E-R-R-U-P-T-E-D, interrupted. Number 27, disguised, D-I-S-G-U-I-S-E-D, disguised. Number 28, fastened, F-A-S-T-E-N-E-D, fastened. Number 30, use, U-S-E-D, use. Number 31, celebrated, C-E-L-E-B-R-A-T-E-D, celebrated. Number 32, interested, I-N-T-E-R-E-S-T-E-D, interested. Number 33, whispered, W-H-I-S-P-E-R-E-D, whispered. And number 34, imagined, I-M-A-G-I-N-E-D, imagined. Okay, we want to practice these when you're writing them. One thing that helps me when I write my spelling words is I write it, I say it out loud while I'm writing it. It's putting it into my brain, okay? Spelling, the easiest way to get your spelling down is to memorize. We cannot memorize unless we practice, okay? Practice makes perfect, so we've got to practice them. You've got to say them over and over. When you're writing them, say them. Have your parents quiz you at home. Okay, you have to put forth some effort. 6th grade, you're getting ready, like I said, to go into junior high, and then high school, and then college, And you will have to be able to work independently, studying on your own, putting these things into our heads. And so it's important that you start learning some of these study habits, okay? You have to study to get them. You have to put forth some effort. It's not just going to come to you overnight. If you go home every day and you never study for your spelling, especially if you struggle with spelling a little bit, and then you come in on Friday to take your spelling test, you're not going to do well. Okay, you have to put some effort in. You have to put some work into it. And just looking at the spelling test from Friday, I can tell that did not happen last week. So we need to change our study habits. We need to work at these things. Let's look at page 5. Test your understanding, okay? Let's see how much. It says write the missing vocabulary words on notebook paper. Some of the words will be plural, okay? Meaning we might have to change it to the plural form. Let's look at number 1. Gavin, read me the sentence, please. Screwdrivers, hammers, and other blank clutter, the handyman's workbench. What word do we think we're missing here in number 1? What word meant like tools? We have screwdrivers, hammers, these are tools. So what word would we put there? Yes, ma'am. Implements. We're going to make it plural, implements, because we have screwdrivers, which are plural, hammers, which are plural. So we're also going to keep implements plural. You guys don't have to write them on a piece of paper. Just write them small next to the number for me, okay? Make sure you have that written, though, on number 1. Implements. Number 2. Make sure you're staying with us so you don't get behind. Oliver Twist was really the grandson of a wealthy man and would one day blank a huge estate. Oliver Twist was really the grandson of a wealthy man and would one day blank a huge estate. What word would we put in the blank there, Josiah? No. He was a grandson of a wealthy man. Yes, Shane? Inherit. Very good. He would one day inherit a huge estate. Inherit means to receive something from an ancestor or a relative at his death. Landon, are you getting these written? We're on number 2. We've already written number 1 and number 2. Number 3. By the way, those of you boys that have the altered list, I also want you doing this with us. Okay? So you should be on Test Your Understanding with us in your book, even though you have an altered list. Make sure you're writing these as well. You do have some of these vocabulary words on your list. Number 3, dictator, czar, and emperor are each a type of what? Olive, can you figure this one out for us? Dictator, czar, and emperor are each a type of? Dictators, czars, and emperors are all like rulers, leaders of countries, right? Can somebody help her out? Landon? Autocrat. Yes, autocrat means an absolute ruler. Dictator, czar, and emperor are each a type of autocrat. Make sure you're writing these in. You should be writing these in, okay? Number 4. Number 4 says, have you ever known anyone that has had an blank disease? Blank disease. Cameron. Very good. Autoimmune disease. Yes, you have known someone who has had an autoimmune disease because Mrs. Rule has an autoimmune disease. Autoimmune is when your own body attacks basically its own immune system. Autoimmune. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Number 5. I'll have Gavin have you do this one for me. Columbus blanked to reach the east by sailing west. Columbus blank to reach the east by sailing west. Adam, can you help him out? What'd you say? Not imported. Shane, what do you think? Attempted, yes. Columbus attempted to reach the east by sailing west. He tried. Attempted. Make sure you're writing those answers in your book, please. Number 6. Humans do not blank the frozen lands of the North Pole. Humans do not blank the frozen lands of the North Pole. Cameron? Tony, what do you think? Nope. Good guess? Yes? Inhabit. Yes, humans do not inhabit. Okay, so that was inhabit. Humans do not inhabit, meaning they don't live on the frozen lands of the North Pole, except for Santa. He lives in the North Pole. Number 7. Doctors can now blank against smallpox and diphtheria. Yes, ma'am. Inoculate. Very good. Doctors can now inoculate against smallpox and diphtheria. Remember, inoculate means to inject a vaccine into a living organism to prevent disease. It's called vaccinations. Number 8. It is unlawful to blank trash within the city limits. It is unlawful to blank trash within the city limits. You guys might not know this. This is kind of a country thing that people do with trash. But, Shane, what do you think it is? Say it louder. Spell it. No. Adam? Incinerate. Yes, to burn to ashes. A lot of people, if you live in the country, this is a popular way to get rid of trash. They do a big old burn pile in their field, and they burn their trash, okay? But you're not allowed to do that in the city. So that's what incinerate means, to burn to ashes. This happened, my father-in-law lives on 40 acres in Northern California, and he had a gentleman who was an off-duty firefighter who wanted to help him burn some trash, and so he said he would do a big burn pile for him, and he set the whole field on fire. So You have to be careful. That's why they don't allow it in many places, because you don't want to accidentally set fire. But that's what incinerate means, to burn to ashes, and you cannot burn trash in the city limits. Okay, so that's what that sentence is saying right there. Number 9, all the books used for the library research report should be listed on the blank page. Let's see. Liviana, can you tell us what this one is? All the books used for the library research report should be listed on the... What kind of page do we list all the books? No. Tristan? Bibliography, good. If you guys write a research paper this year or in the years to come, you will have to have a bibliography page that states all of the places where you got your information. So all the books that you read, all the websites that you cited, that will have to be on the bibliography page. That was number 9, bibliography. Number 10, some countries cannot grow enough food for the people, and so they must blank food from other countries. Olive. Import. Good. Import meaning to bring in from another country. A lot of our foods here in the U.S. are imported. A lot of our fruits and our vegetables, we get imported. That's why our bananas taste very different here than they do in Hawaii. Because when they're shipped to America, they're shipped before they're ripe. They pull them off the trees when they're green, right? But if you actually get a fresh banana right off the tree in Hawaii, it's just a totally different taste. Sweet. Same thing with their pineapple and their coconuts. Okay, next one. Number 11. The operation on his kneecap required only a small... Cameron? Incision. Incision is a small cut. Incision. Are you getting these, Landon? Did you get incision? Number 12. My great-grandparents were blank from Ireland. Tristan? We'll look at your list, though, on the book. Yes, immigrant. Good. Immigrants. They were immigrants. You want to put an S on the end there. You want to make it plural because we're talking about 2 people here, grandparents. My great-grandparents were immigrants from Ireland. Number 13. After much coaxing, Sadie finally blanked her mom to go on the roller coaster with her. Yes, ma'am. Persuaded. Persuaded. After much coaxing, Sadie finally persuaded her mom to go on the roller coaster with her. Number 14. I'm going to let Gavin, you do this one. Farmers use what to make crops grow in areas where there is little rain? Farmers use blank to make crops grow in areas where there is little rain. So they're not depending on the rain to water their crops. So what do they have to use? Okay, so what is that called? Irrigation. Good job. They use irrigation. Okay, and number 15. The pastor told the congregation to be ready and to watch for the blank return of Christ. I used this one as an illustration here a minute ago when we were going through them. Tony, what is it? Okay. Not the one that we were looking for, but I can definitely say that would be an okay word to put in there because it is a biblical. It's in the Bible, but they were looking for the word that means it can happen at any moment. What is that word, Landon? Imminent. Everyone say that with me. Imminent. The imminent return, meaning it can happen any second. That's the word that they were looking for. Tomorrow we will do Test Your Spelling Mastery. At this time, I'm going to hand out your homework for tonight in spelling. This will be graded, okay? So it's very important that you get this done. Bring it back to me tomorrow, okay? Go ahead and stick it in your binders. I'm not going to have you work on it right now. If we have time towards the end of the class where you have some time to go back, you can work on it then. Bless you. You guys have two, this one and this one, but this one is very, very short. Yes, sir. Do you have a question? Okay. And this one. That one. And this one. That one's very short. That one should only take you like a couple minutes. Okay, and it is a crossword puzzle, so it's a fun assignment, but you will be graded on it, so make sure, double check, make sure you have found all of your words, okay? Because if you miss any, you will lose points off of your total grade for your homework assignment. Get 100% on this, and this will help you pull up those spelling grades that maybe weren't so great on Friday. We did have a couple hundreds. I think I had a 104. You had a good score, Olive. And Liviana, you had a good score on Friday. Good job. I will tell the rest of you what you got later. Okay, so put those in your binders. That is homework for tonight. Go ahead and pull out your language books, please. Cameron, I will do your spelling test that you missed on Friday with you at lunchtime, okay? Okay, open up to page 12 first. Mrs. Israel's going to come around and just check your books. Make sure we did our assignments. How come we didn't get it all done, bud? Didn't get all yours done either. Good, Gavin. Okay, so you were absent. So we did these pages on Friday, so you have to make those up, okay, and have them done for me. Okay, good. Good, Olive. Good. And no, it needs to be done by Wednesday. So you'll turn in to me on Wednesday. Okay, make sure that we're doing our daily assignments, okay? Some days I will just check and take a grade that says, oh, 100%, they completed it, or not completed. Some days I'll actually have us exchange and we'll grade those homework assignments in class, okay? So make sure that we're doing all of our homework assignments. I will be grading our homework assignment in language tomorrow, so this was maybe just a little bit of a reminder for those of you that didn't have yours done. You need to make sure you go back and finish it. I will check it again tomorrow, those of you that didn't have 12 done. And if it's not done tomorrow, then it will go in as an incomplete, a 0. So make sure that if you did not, Tristan, eyes on me, please. Make sure that if it wasn't finished, that you finish it. Okay, let's look at page 13 now. Think A. It says on the lookout for compound subjects and verbs. Okay, a compound subject and a verb means what? What is a compound subject and verb? Raise your hand. Liviana? Yeah, it means that there's two subjects or two verbs. I gotta find my tickets. Here they are. Okay, so when we're looking in sentences and we're trying to find that subject and verb, remember to watch carefully, okay? Because there may be more than one subject. There may be more than one verb, and it's important that we find and label both. If you find one, your answer is going to be wrong, okay? When it's compound, you need to find both of them. Let's look at think A. Draw one line under the subject and two lines under the compound verb. Be sure to underline all the verbs in a verb phrase, okay? Let's just talk about the difference between a compound verb and a verb phrase. Who can tell me the difference between a compound verb and a verb phrase? Who knows? Anyone? Want to take a guess at it? For 3 tickets? Difference between a compound verb and a verb phrase. Cameron. We know what a compound verb is, right? Compound verb means there's two verbs. So what's the difference between a compound verb and a verb phrase? Need some help? Gavin? Okay. Okay. Is this a verb phrase or are these compound verbs? Shout it out. Verb phrase or compound verbs? How many of you say compound? How many of you say verb phrase? Okay, good. We're on the right track then. Compound verb means, just like Gavin said, there are two main verbs, swam and ran. Okay, that means, good job by the way, that means that we have two verbs, two main verbs. Don't be confused, 6th grade, and it looks like for the most part we are a little bit confused. A verb phrase does not, it means that we have a helper verb. She was swimming. What is my complete verb here? Well, I have swimming, that's my main action verb, but I also have a helper. Now I have two words here that are considered my verbs, but are these compound? No, I just have a main verb with a helper. This is called a verb phrase. Okay, so make sure when you hear that term, verb phrase, that we understand that just means a verb might have some helpers that we need to include. Okay, if we have part of our assignment, or maybe it's part of our quiz, says underline your verbs 2 times, and we don't include our helper, we can get points deduct, okay, because we didn't find the complete verb. So it's important that we understand verb phrase means we need to include all the helpers. Compound means there's 2. Verb phrase means there can be 2. She was swimming and was running, or just and running. So here I have a compound verb phrase. Okay, do you understand the difference? So make sure you understand what that means when you hear that term verb phrase. Number 1, read the sentence to me, Liviana, nice and loud. Joseph washed and waxed the car on Saturday morning. What are the verbs here, Liviana? Washed and waxed. Very good. Underline those 2 times. Those are the action words. What is Joseph doing? He's washing and he's waxing. And then we're going to ask, when we find the verb, who knows? What do we ask after we find the verb? We ask what 2 questions? Who or what? Very good. So who or what washed and waxed? Class? Joseph. Go ahead and underline it 1 time. Easy peasy. We got our subject and our compound verb. Let's go to number 2. The robin spotted its nest and landed softly. The robin spotted its nest and landed softly. What are our verbs here, Ariel? Spotted and landed. Good. Those are the 2 actions. Spotted and landed. Then we ask, who or what spotted and landed? Cameron? The robin. Underline the word robin. Robin spotted, robin landed. Number 3, Landon? The gold shone and sparkled in the sunlight. What are my verbs here? Shone and sparkled. Who or what shone and sparkled? The gold. Number 4, I started this puzzle but have not finished it yet. This one may be a little bit trickier. Olive? Have you do this one. What are my verbs here? Good. Is that all I need to underline though? Is there a helper? What is it? Okay, good. Have. So here we have an example of a compound verb phrase. We have a helper in there and we need to include it. Anytime you have one of those helpers, has, have, has, been, do, does, did, should, could, may, might, must, can, all those ones. You need to underline them 2 times. Okay? And then who or what started but have not finished, class? I. I is your subject. Number 5, Josiah. Silver is a soft metal and has much value. What are my 2 verbs here? Is soft a verb? You can't do it. If it's not an action, sometimes you don't have action, sometimes you have linking verbs, so look carefully. Adam, can you give him some help? Is and has. Those are your 2 linking verbs, is and has. And then who or what is or has, Tony? Silver is your subject. Good. Number 6. Josiah, I'm going to give you another shot here. I know you know these. We sat in our chairs and waited for the first act of the play. What are my 2 verbs? Good. Sat and waited. Who or what sat and waited, Shane? We. Number 7. Waves crashed against the rocks and lapped at the shore. Emmeline? Crashed and lapped. Good. Crashed and lapped. And who or what crashed or lapped? Emmeline? Waves. That's your subject. Underline it 1 time. And number 8, Tristan. The astronauts took pictures of the lunar landscape and collected many rock specimens. What are your 2 verbs? Cameron. Not Tristan. Sorry, Cameron. Did I say Tristan the first time? I'm sorry, Tristan. I was looking at Cameron and I said Tristan. I meant Cameron. And? Good. And Tristan. All right, think B. Draw 1 line under the compound subject and 2 lines under the compound verb. Here we're going to have 2 subjects and 2 verbs. Be sure to underline all the verbs in a verb phrase. Number 1. Gilbert and Sullivan wrote and produced many popular operettas. What are the 2 verbs in this sentence, Gavin? And? Wrote and produced. Who or what wrote or produced? Ariel? Yes, Gilbert and Sullivan. So you need to underline wrote and produced 2 times. Gilbert and Sullivan 1 time each. Number 2, Rodgers and Hammerstein composed music and wrote lyrics for such musicals as Oklahoma and The Sound of Music. What are my verbs here, Adam? Not music. Wrote and composed. Good. So composed. Rodgers and Hammerstein. Those are your subjects. Number 3, the president and his cabinet discuss current problems and make decisions about national policies. Okay, what's your verb here in this sentence? Your verbs, I should say. Ariel? Discuss, and not decisions, but what do you do to decisions? Make. Good. And then who or what discuss and make? The president and his cabinet. So president and cabinet. Make sure we don't underline and his. Those are, and is a conjunction, his is an adjective. We are only underlining the words president, cabinet. Number 4, Josiah, books and magazines were lying on the floor and were scattered on the shelf. What are your verbs here? Okay, but include your helpers. Were lying and were scattered. And then who or what, Liviana, were lying and were scattered? Books and magazines. Number 5, Landon. Rocket engines and jet engines are very different but work on the same principles. What are your verbs here? Is engines an action word? It either has to be an action word or it has to be a linking. Are, good. And there's one more. It's an action word. Something you do. Work. So the first one's a linking word, are. The second one is an action word, work. So what are and work? Olive? Good. Engines and engines. Number 6. Tristan, watches and clocks in the old repair shop ticked and chimed all day long. What are your verbs? Well, it's saying the old repair shop. Ticked and chimed. Very good. And who or what ticked and chimed, Tristan? Watches and clocks. Good. Cameron, the kite and the model airplane were finished and prepared for flying. What are your 2 verbs here? And? Good. Were finished. He included his helper. And prepared is the second action verb there. And who or what were finished and prepared, Cameron? Kite and airplane. Good. And number 8, Gavin, the horses and the cattle were enclosed in the same pasture and fed the same kind of hay. What are your verbs here? Were enclosed and fed. Those are your verbs, were enclosed, fed. And then who or what were enclosed and fed? Horses and cattle. All right. Right C says write an interrogative sentence containing a compound subject joined by or. Can anyone, we don't have to write it out, but can anyone give me an example of a sentence like this? Yes, Gavin? Compound subject. But they want you to use a compound subject. Your subject needs to be what's compound. So So maybe you could say, would a pen or pencil be a good tool for this assignment? So if you flip it around to where now that's a subject, okay? Are the girls or the boys going out to lunch? So you want to have a question, interrogative sentence is a question, and they wanted you to have a compound subject. Yes, Cameron?
Can I do it?
Sure. Go for it.
The marker and highlighter.
They want you to use it as a subject, and they want you to use it as a question sentence. Has to be a question. Has to have two subjects that are separated by the word or.
Was the marker and highlighter.
You were okay with was the marker or the highlighter. What?
No.
How about if I finish it for you? Was the marker or the highlighter sitting on the desk? Okay. All right, go to page 14. Good job. Page 14, compound subjects and verbs. Let's diagram. Now, we've learned how to spot them. How do we diagram them? I love diagramming. How many of you just love to diagram? Woohoo! I do. I'm glad you all share in my excitement. Diagramming sentences is like dissecting frogs, but you're dissecting a sentence. It's very cool. It's a lot less bloody, girls. You'll like it. You'll love it. Okay, here we go. Look at the top there. It says compound subjects and verbs. It shows you when you're diagramming a compound subject or a compound verb, the key is you need to build a rocket, okay? Normally you would have your subject and verb. Cats, shed. Okay, there's your subject, there's your verb, okay? But if I have two subjects, then I need to build my subject line a cute little fun rocket. Cats and dogs. I do a dotted line from this point to this point. This rocket part is up here. I put my conjunction and. Cats and dogs shed. Okay, what if I have more than just one verb? If I have more than one verb, then I'm also going to build a rocket ship for my verbs. Dogs and cats shed and lick. Okay, and then if I had more than two, I would just draw another line. Okay, I would divide this rocket even more. My line is very crooked there. Okay, so this gives you an idea of how to do it. Number one. Let's see what your book says here. Think A there, okay? It says draw one line under the compound subject and two lines under the compound verb. On notebook paper, diagram the subjects and verbs in these sentences. Go ahead and pull out a sheet of notebook paper quickly. The quicker you get it out, the less you'll have for homework. Pull it out quickly. Make sure your name is on it. We're going to work a few of these together. All right, guys, we are going to work the odd numbers, okay? So ignore the evens. You guys know what your odd numbers are? I mean your even numbers? 2, 4, 6, 8. Good. Okay, so math is paying off. Adam, go ahead and turn around, face forward. Number 2. Number 2 is where we're starting. This needs to be on your paper. The new battery and hoses for my car were rather expensive. What is my verb in this sentence, class? Shout it out when you know it. Were. Just were. Okay? So underline the word were 2 times. We're on number 2 and think A. Who or what were? Who or what were? What are the subjects here, Shane? Battery and hoses. I have 2 subjects. Make sure you've underlined those. So because I have 2 subjects, I need to build a rocket ship for my diagram. Please, boys, make sure we're focusing on what we're doing here, because whatever is not done, you will have to do on your homework. I am going to collect these diagrams tomorrow and grade them. If you're playing and you're not getting them down, you will miss them and your homework grade is going to be real low. So focus and write. Okay, so we underline battery and hoses as our 2 subjects. And what did we say our verb was? Were. Pretty easy. All done. Make sure you're using your lines, okay? If I had lines on my paper like this, I would use my lines to make my diagram so that it stayed nice and neat, okay? You can do it like that, or you can do it like this. So just make sure you use your lines. That'll help you keep in your diagrams looking straight and neat. Okay, let's go on to number 4. Number 4, it says that the Akron and the Macon were 2 American dirigibles. Okay, what is my verb here?
I had a question on number 2.
Yes.
There's and in number 2, so why don't
Sorry. Yes, we do want to put and in. Thank you for reminding me. Your dotted line and then and goes right here. Okay. Number 4. Who's got the verb for number 4? Shout it out if you know it. Were. Very good. Who or what were? The Akron and the Macron. So once again, we have compound subjects with 1 verb. So our diagram is going to be the exact same as the number 2. And don't forget to write the word and in the side. Make sure you're numbering them, okay? So when you turn them in, I know which diagrams they are. Yes, sir?
is this our homework tonight?
This is your classwork, and I'm going to assign some homework in a minute. But you'll do your homework on this same page. You're going to turn it all in to me. Okay, so let's look at Think B. That was Think A. We're only doing the even. So now let's look at Think B. Once again, let's look at number 2. Mr. Bixley directs the choir and preaches on Sunday night. In this section, we're going to have 1 subject but compound verbs. Okay, so if we know we're going to have 1 subject and compound verbs, we know our diagram is going to look like this. It's going to be the opposite of what we just did. Who can tell me what the verbs are in number 2 on Think B? Gavin, can you find them for us, please? Directs and preaches. Underline it 2 times in your book. Then write it on your diagram. Okay, class, who or what directs and preaches? Shout it out when you know it. Who or what directs and preaches? Mr. Bixley. Good, Liviana, come get your tickets. Good job. Mr. Bixley. Face forward. Number 4. The chimpanzee ran around the cage and chattered loudly. What are the verbs? In number 4. Emmeline, can you find the verbs for me in number 4?
Cage and run.
Not cage. Ran was the first one. Good. He ran and he what? Chattered. Good. So make sure when you're picking out your verbs that you're finding the one that they're actually doing. If it's not an actual word, then it's going to be one of your linking or helping. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been, have, has, had, do, does, did, should, could, should, would, may, might, must, can, could. All those taste, feel, look, smell, appear. Okay. Who or what ran and chattered? Class? Chimpanzee. Okay, for homework. You are doing think C and D. Only the evens, just like we just did. So you will have 4 more diagrams that you will be doing for homework. 2 in think C, 2 in think D. When you get to think C, you're going to have 2 subjects and 2 verbs. So your diagrams in think C class are going to look like this. Okay, so that's how your 2 in think C should look, because you're going to have 2 subjects and 2 verbs. In think D, it's going to be mixed up. They might have 1 subject, 2 verbs. You might have 1 verb, 2 subjects. You might have 2 and 2. So you're going to have to look at those and figure them out. All right, put this away for now. You can come back to that. That is your homework. Pull out your writing books, please, and go to page number 7. Quickly. Page number 7. Okay, we're looking at our D's, our E's, and our F's, but you'll notice at the top of the number 7, it says the element of uniform slant, okay? Today's lesson, they want you to focus on really working on your slant. Now, many of you, you've already ripped this slant guide out. This is the easiest way to get a consistent slant, is by using this slant guide that was at the front of your book. You take it, and you're just going to slide it behind your paper. When you do, you'll notice that you can see those lines right behind, okay? And then you want your letters to go at that same slant. I don't know if you can see my book here, but you can see that slant guide through. And it gives you a guide to show you exactly what slant your letter should be at, okay? So they give you a warm-up there, and then your D's, your E's, and your F's, okay? I will go over how to write these very quickly. A lot of you, this is just review. I know we have a couple new students, but for the most of you, this is review. You already know. For your D, you're going to start at the top. You're going to slant down, okay? Notice my line is slanted. Cameron, my line is not up and down for my D. I don't want my D to look like this. That's not a good slant, okay? So while we're focusing on this area of uniform slant, we need to watch when we're starting our letter, are we slanting that line? So we're going to come down from the top, touch the bottom line, and you're going to do a small little loop. Then you're going to go back to the bottom of the line. And here's where you're going to start curving up. Okay, nice and round. You're going to touch where you started, and you're going to do a little pigtail. Okay, watch one more time. You're going to slant down, touch the bottom, small circle, touch the bottom again, start curving back up towards your top, connect, and pigtail. That is your uppercase D. Your lowercase d, you're going to start at the top of your circle, come around, connect, come back down the same line, tail. Once again, notice my slant, okay? My D is not straight up and down. A common thing I see that people do with D's when they're writing, a common mistake, is I see a lot of loops, okay? Make sure you're not doing any loops. Make sure you come down that same line. Okay, and the other thing that I see commonly is they break apart too soon, and we have this little TP right here. Okay, we want to avoid TPs. So watch your lowercase d's. Okay, your uppercase e's. Your uppercase e's, you're going to start at the top. Circle, circle, done. Okay, once again, circle, circle, done. Pretty easy. Your lowercase e's are very simple. They're just like little loops, okay? Just make sure they're at the right height on your lines. And then the last letter they're showing you again for review is that letter F that we did last week. It is a little tiny loop, touch the top, come down, slant, little flag, and cross. Your lowercase f, loop up, down, connect that bottom line, and tail. Okay, so just a quick review on those letters we've already learned. Be careful with your slant. You are doing page 7 today for your assignment. Okay, 6th grade, you have about 4 minutes. I would at least try to accomplish my cursive before lunch starts. If you get done, you can go back and work on some of your diagramming or your spelling. Make sure all that is done for tomorrow. Gianni, I am going to email you over the spelling assignments for this week so you can complete those and return them to me on Friday. That's the spelling homework. Once again, I'll need to collect your spelling test from you that you took on Friday and your cursive test. If you have any other questions for me, please reach out. You can email me on my email, but reach out to me so I can make sure you're doing okay, okay? If you